So for anyone joining in for the first time, this is a coaching session, and my goal will be to not only give you some structure in terms of avatar, but also see what you're working on and how we can kind of speed up the process. Now, I want to map out like the stages initially, the early stages in ecom, and I want you guys to look at the stages and kind of identify like where you're at right now in this journey, and we can take it from there. So the first thing that probably going to be looking at is product research. And product research, as I mentioned this in the last coaching session, this is where you list opportunities. So you're pretty much listing opportunities. And whenever you're listing opportunities, you can do this either by looking at things where you're kind of passionate about. And as I mentioned last time, passion equal time spent. So you spend a lot of time. So you have some knowledge, and most of the time you are the customer. And that's why you're, passionate about this product or this idea, is because you're kind of the customer or you understand the customer. And reasoning here in terms of doing this, like with the doing the product research with this structure, is because you can spend much more time analyzing things that you're passionate about rather than things that you're just using data. And the other way would be using data. And if you guys remember last time, we did talk about using Amazon bestsellers, kind of over that structure and like starting that process without necessarily the passion element. And here we use data. And I shared with you guys using Amazon as a platform to analyze and leveraging these brands in terms of meta, looking at their ads and so on. So this would be a way to find opportunities. Now, this is stage one, and here we're just doing product research. Now, stage two would be validation. I'm sorry, I actually so clear. Validation. And validation, we look at a couple of criteria. Actually, look at 4 criteria. First one would be margins. And here, it's a clear pass-fail criteria. So this, for example, this is like a pass-fail situation. So you have a 30% profit target that we need to hit. And to give you an example, this is a profit calculator, and you can see here it's like it does like the numbers in terms of the inputs of your cost of goods, in terms of your your estimated marketing cost, which technically is just 30% of your AOV. But anyway, this is a document that we use, and it's in the models where you can validate the gross profit margin. And this is very important because this is one of the pass-fail criteria. So one of them. And if it's not above 30%, that's a fail. If it's above, that's a pass, right? So this is one of the criteria for validation. Second one would be the demand. And I'll just close this. For the demand, we have multiple elements. So you can look at the demand from a like a competition perspective. And an example here, and I want to just like every time I go through the validation in this call, I'll try to show you like a mini example. A competition here would be, and I'll just stop the share screen for a second because I have like other tabs in the Google Chrome side. Okay, I'll share again. All good. So an example would be, let's say I click this business here, just an example, this website. And if I was to analyze this website, I can actually using SimilarWeb pull their traffic. And if I was to pull the traffic, I can see how many visitors, right? That's me analyzing the competition. Particularly, I can see how like what's the level of traffic they have, and on top of this, I can look at the markets, like what is the leading market that they're going after. In this case, I can see it's the let's say North American market. It's like US and Canada, but I can also see a little bit of Europe. But this is just a clear kind of vision on this business, what's their traffic, and that's how you can kind of start the competition analysis. So I use SimilarWeb, which is the tool that you saw me kind of pull, like this one. This is called SimilarWeb. It's a free Google Chrome extension, so completely free. and you can use it to look at any store. And if you have any question, by the way, let me know in the chat. It's like, hey, what are you doing? What is this? Pause me, and you can interrupt me anytime and ask questions. The goal is for me to help you guys, but at the same time, anything that I present that's relatively new first time and you don't understand, like, what is this? You can interrupt me and tell me, hey, I don't understand. Can you explain more? So just to go over this, it's called SimilarWeb. It's a Google Chrome extension. You can pretty much just put in SimilarWeb Chrome extension, and you will see that there are two, like in terms of SimilarWeb, it's a free tool for the traffic analysis tool, but you have the sales extension. That's actually this one here, I think. It's a paid one. So make sure to go with the free version, and it's not paid, which you have to keep in mind. You have the website traffic, I think, and SEO checker, and then you have the sales extension. This is the paid one, and you can see I didn't add it, and make sure to add the right one. Again, two type of Chrome extensions, and you can use this like 15 times a week for free. And I've been using it for years for free. So I never paid for it. Just to let you know, and that's just one detail. So you can analyze the competition, and this here would be also a pass-fail criteria. If I can't find 10 competitors doing good amount of traffic, when I say good amount of traffic, between anywhere between 20K and 400K is good visits per month. And I keep repeating this, but pretty much like depending on the AOV in reality, but this would be the volume. If I can't find a lot of competitors, I have a problem in the demand, because most of the time demand would drive, volume of sellers, and then that's going to drive sales and competition. Anyway, so this is just a view on it. Now you have also Amazon, and particularly Amazon US. Reason why you analyze Amazon US, every product potentially out there is on Amazon, like a variant of it somehow. And your goal is not to launch on Amazon. We're not doing an Amazon FBA business. And also not looking to compete on in terms of prices on Amazon. We're just looking to see the volume in terms of demand. Now, if I was to put in Amazon.com, just miss, and I would search, let's say, actually this product here, question mark for married couples. That's a very niche product. And let's say we put in Jungle Scout search, so we click on it. It's gonna give us the volume per month. And in this case here, this product is doing like 200K per month. And you can see the volume with Jungle Scout now. I am using Jungle Scout, which is a paid extension, but it is really to just show you like how we can track the sales on Amazon. Now, when I'm doing a validation, I'm actually checking the sales on Amazon US, even though I'm looking, let's say you're looking to launch in Australia, or you're looking to launch in Europe, or you're looking to launch in Canada, I will still look at the US because I want to see the volume in sales, and I'm putting, I would say, the structure as the US is a leading market, and then it's also where you have most of the data. So if I can get that information in terms of demand, then that's can validate again the volume in terms of sales. So I'm not necessarily looking at, hey, I'm gonna sell this in Australia. In terms of just the view on Amazon, it's more there is a demand for this particular niche, and I'm gonna expect that in Australia the demand would be like 10 times less just because of the demographic. But this is just to look at the volume and it's more volume analysis. So Amazon US particularly, this is to look at, do we have six-figure sellers per month? And the pass-fail criteria, in my opinion, here is going to be, can we track in some sellers doing above 100K per month? If you have six of them doing above 100K per month, you have a strong demand in Amazon US, which means this is the biggest e-commerce tool in the world, right? It's telling you, hey, there is a demand for this. Again, I'm not competing on pricing in there. I'm not looking to launch on Amazon. I'm not looking to launch in the US. I'm just looking to see the volume in terms of sales for a particular niche in a leading market. So that's how you can kind of visualize this. Now that's the demand analysis, and you can also use Google Trend. And this is to look at the seasonality of something, pretty much. let's say we look at anything in terms of seasonality. If I was to serve, let's say, posture corrector, and I would put in 5 years, and I would put US. You can see, I'll just leave it to upsearch. It's kind of stable. There was like a higher trend in 2019, which actually when this product was viral, and then it just stable overall. So it's not necessarily going on an uptrend, somehow a little bit on a like little bit declining trend just versus like this period. But if I was to put in a much bigger like view on this, it's actually stable. It's kind of okay. This is again coming back to 10 years and just to see like where are we? Are we actually coming back down? Not necessarily, we're just like at this level here, which again this is like it's just to analyze the seasonality, nothing else. It's like, hey, like do we look at 100? Do we look at 75? Do we look at 50? Like what's kind of the levels here? I don't look at these as kind of a strong indicator to say something is kind of good or bad, like 50 is good and 100, um, let's say, is very good and 10 is bad. It's more of I want to see like what's the direction. And right now, this is stable. It went up, like there was like a time where it was really doing good, and then right now it's kind of all right. Now, if I was to put in same thing but another product, which went viral at one moment, but it's like not viral anymore, I think. So this is what you don't want. You can see just like one time. And yeah, so an example. I can probably look at something that's more seasonal. So let's say in the US, fishing or fishing net is going to be more seasonal. So you can see the seasonality, and I can see it. This is very seasonal. So you saw a case where things are stable, one-time trend, like just a spike and then nothing, and then this is seasonal. If you're launching a business like this, like in this kind of I would say seasonality, then you know if you launch in January, you're launching like a I would say in the where there is the least interest. And if you're launching in May, then you're launching when there is the highest interest. So you can kind of see what is the best time for you to launch in terms of interest and let's say seasonality. You can look at a lot of niches. I can even go like very like let's say anime and you can put and you're gonna see like very stable overall. It's kind of declining. And again, this is like if you put in any space, we can look at it. So let's say um bok choy, which is kind of a broad one, but it should be a very, I would say, gradual interest. And this is normal because people have been more and more purchasing things online, particularly for the pet supplies. So it's like a category where you can see it's like coming in, and the spikes probably, I'm assuming here it's going to be in Q4, particularly in Christmas. This is why like there's like a big push here. And you can see it's like coming in every time, Christmas, 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 Christmas. So I can see that there is a demand, it's gradual, and there is this moment like in Christmas where I expect a very big interest, which is kind of normal. Like dog toys are gonna be more selling in that category. So anyway, this is how you can use Google Trend, and we look at just the seasonality. Uh, Seasonality. I'm actually not sure about how to run this, so you can kind of guess this word. But anyway, this is like the three kind of criteria I would look at, and it should be a pass, pass, and pass. If it's not pass on three, then you have a something to look at, like maybe double check why the Google trend, let's say, is on a downtrend, or why we don't have any sellers on Amazon, or why you're not able to find the competitors. Some products actually you might not be looking at Amazon as a platform, and it might be more difficult. Let's say you're selling something that's unique enough that it's not on Amazon, like a service, for example, or a digital product or a course or those kind of things, they're not going to be on Amazon. So by default, you're not going to get, at least not to my knowledge, courses are not really being advertised a lot on Amazon or digital product. They're not necessarily aggressively on Amazon. Like you have some niches where there is less, I would say, availabilities that you can look at data on Amazon. But anyway, this is just to go with just the majority like of cases. Now, the third part would be the avatar. And this is the goal of this session, technically, is to analyze this and how to position your business, like in a unique manner. Now, the avatar, you can think about it as you're looking to launch and you have this audience, and the more you can connect with them, the more you can understand your audience, the more you can advertise to them. So it's pretty simple actually. And our goal would be to position something that's unique and that would kind of provide more value to your audience. So value. Now, here in terms of analyzing the avatar, you can do it like a lot of different you can do the avatar in a lot of different ways. You can do organic, I would say what I would call social listening, and I'll give an example today because I didn't give an example of this in the past. Social listening. And you can do it also using the competition. Social listening, an example would be using Answer the Public. Let's say I don't have any idea about why people would buy something. Let's say I'm looking to sell a makeup brush, right? And I don't know, like, why would people buy a makeup brush? A makeup brush? So let's put in like a makeup brush. And if I was to search this, probably I need to put instead of Canada because it's flagged Canada. Okay, regardless, it's still you can put any country you want, but let's say I'll leave it with Canada here. But let's say you're looking to sell makeup brushes, and if you're looking to understand like why people would buy this phone, then using Answer the Public, and I'll actually change this to the United States because you're gonna get much more data. Makeup brush. Let's close this, search. Ideally, they don't request to create a content, an account. But anyway, close this. So I'll leave it with the Canadian version. But anyway, you can see all the potential questions that your potential customers are asking. And that's going to allow you to understand more why they're buying and like almost like start building the avatar from their own like problems. For example, can let's say how to let's click on can makeup brush cause acne. And if I was to do this, I can right away when I click on the link from the Answer the Public, it's going to take you to the most, I would say, asked questions and the Reddit topics. And the goal would be to pretty much extract the information from the avatar. So the avatar here, I can see that they do care about the causality between makeup brush and the acne. So if I was to work on a product where the makeup brush actually doesn't cause any acne, let's say, again, I didn't really do research on this, but let's say this is a makeup brush that's kind of solving this problem rather than causing it, then you can start looking at this as a solution. So I'm again positioning things just based on research. So your goal would be to look at these most frequently asked questions and look at the topics here. And Answer the Public is not only giving you the most popular questions, but also with different platforms. So you can look at YouTube, you can look at TikTok, and we'll just connect to the account because it seems like they want this. Let's do it. Okay, let's just see if they actually, I can do a research. Okay, I can. So you can do this with TikTok, and it's going to give you all these like situation of just this platform, and like people are asking these questions. So for example, uh, how to wash your makeup brush, and this would give me probably what people are kind of finding, say, in terms of just the cleaning process, the pain in that, and I can see the content and anything that went viral, and I can understand more. Let's say I'm selling makeup brushes, I can see the problem. So cleaning makeup the cleaning the brushes is kind of, it seems like it's a pain point. And for example, the acne part would be another pain point. So I can kind of start building my avatar from the research using this tool, which again, you can use it for free 3 times. And I think 3 times a week, maybe, or a day, actually, it's pretty good. So you have like 3 times a day where you can use it. And I think 3 times pretty good without necessarily having to pay for anything. So it's another free tool that you can leverage to build a little bit on social listening. Now, my favorite strategy would not be this one. It's actually using the competition to build the avatar. And to do that, and we mentioned this last time, it's pretty much going to meta ad library. And let's say we go with Australia this time. Let's put in makeup brush. Getting all the ads that are in the market, and obviously it's gonna sometimes not get the right. Okay, let's take this one here. see all details. So for example, let's add here, and I can actually click on the shop and just put in about us, page transparency, ads, okay, go to ad library. So let's say they had an ad with this makeup brush. I'll put in to see all details. If I was to take the copy here and do this for not only one competitor and use it in ChatGPT, I can actually see I can kind of get the information on the avatar. So I'll just show you. 1 second. I'll just share my ChatGPT. So if I was to put this in ChatGPT, I want you to analyze the ad copy provided, so taken from the competition meta, and give me the potential avatar that this seller is targeting. So it's pretty simple and straightforward prompt, and I'll just copy this. And you do this with not only one ad copy version, you do this with like 5 or 10 versions, and it's going to give you the potential avatar, right? And I'm assuming this would be like a, I would say not necessarily that accurate because I only gave like the ChatGPT one version. I would normally give at least 3 and go with more. So yeah, as much as possible. But you can see, I'm kind of seeing right away the demographic, which seems like it's a little bit of a younger based on the copy. And I didn't give them like, there's like not much, I would say, inputs that I added in here beside this copy. So probably I would have added more information. But you can see here, you can go with like, why are they buying, you know, and so on, and kind of analyze like how you can differentiate leveraging this information. Now, something here that we're doing, you have an ad and it's targeting the avatar. And your goal would be this copy, so this information. They're looking to really convert this person. So if I was to use ChatGPT, and this is what we're doing, by the way. 1 sec. ChatGPT. To analyze this copy or this information, ChatGPT with AI, they're so good, they're gonna give you the avatar. And as much information as you provide to ChatGPT or the AI, they're gonna give you a better picture on the avatar. So right now I just used one copy. I should have added more touch point, and that would have improved the quality of the avatar and the details in terms of just like accuracy. So that's what you should do, and this is pretty much what we're doing in this case in terms of analysis. So I'll come back. So I went into this, how to use social listening, answer the public, competition, ChatGPT. 4. And this would be a pass fail if you can't find any way to differentiate, add value, advertise to this audience. So let's say I take you tomorrow and I put you in a room with this avatar. Would you be able to convert them? Like, do you see why they should buy this and what's the value from everything here in terms of the demand and how you can differentiate? If you can't, then you didn't pass this condition here. Now, last one would be the competition. And in this case, we're not looking at the competition from a, let's say, a demand perspective. It's more in terms of what type of ads they're running, in terms of platform. Is it Meta or Google? And you can see this by, let's say you look at the competition website. I'll just show you an example. This website. If you have the competitor, you can really just scroll down and look at in the footer section. There should be like a Facebook logo. 1 second, I'll just take this. Oh, they don't have it. Okay, let's see if they have it above. Okay, they don't have it, which is annoying. But anyway, there should be a Facebook like logo somewhere in the footer. If there isn't, you can check their page on Meta. But ideally, what we want to look at is finding their Facebook page and seeing if they have. They don't have. Actually, they have Instagram, TikTok. I see Facebook. So to see if they have a Facebook page, and we want to look at the Facebook page for this competitor. Click on the About section, Page Transparency, and click on See All, and look at the active ads. So you can see if they have active ads. This is going to allow you to see if they're advertising on Meta. And our goal in this case is to see what platform they're using. So if we understand more, are they running paid ads or are they doing organic? If they're not doing Meta, by default, they're doing Google, like to a certain extent, if they have traffic going or organic. But I would put in Google ads, at least their paid ads with organic. So that's going to be looking at their ads, looking at their marketing overall. Are they doing PPC or are they doing like influencer marketing? If they have like people like, I would say, big influencers in the market driving their traffic, then probably it's not good to compete with them. And that's kind of part of the pass fail. Can you compete? And that's how I would look at it. So one sec. This is stage 2. Stage 1. Stage 2. And here, a lot of work. And most of the time, you're going to do back and forth. One idea doesn't go through, and they're like, hey, I need to redo this. And you come back, find another product, bring it here. It should really be in this order, in my opinion. You do the margins first, and if the margins are not good, then there's no need to analyze, like, I would say, more the competition and demand. So if the margins are not good, you should not really put in a lot of effort into the other categories because you don't have good margins. By default, you can't proceed. So that's probably what I would do. Margins, demand, avatar, competition, in this order. It's gonna be very good. So this is stage 2. Now stage 3, I'll do it in a separate tab. Stage 3 is preparing for the launch. So in this case, we're just gathering ingredients. So you need a website to launch. It's like a checklist. You need an email marketing backend. You need some content. You need some money to run the ads. That's a marketing budget. And you need a product that you picked. And you need you. This is your checklist. If you have everything, you can launch. Stage 4 would be launching. It's like an intermediate tier stage because you're gathering things. You're working on your website, you're working on email marketing backend, you're working on your content, you're working on preparing money to run the app. You have a product that you picked ideally, and you're working on all of these things. So stage 4 would be the launch. And I'll kind of stop here because I'm assuming that all of you guys are in stage 1, 2, or 3. Stage 4 should be later. If you're stage 4, then probably you have access to level 2 and level 3 in terms of our coaching. And you have like the calls where we manage the ads and work on things like that. So that's like media buying and so on. So I'll come back to just the stages. I want you guys to kind of position yourself. So what are you working on right now? Like where are you in this like probably messy whiteboard, but where do you position yourself right now? So are you in stage 1? And if you're in stage 1, you're kind of doing product research. I want you to kind of go over like what do you feel is right now your challenge? It's like, is it finding those products? Is it validating them? Is it the process of like going through the margins, the demand? Like what is the thing that you feel like is kind of overwhelming? And I want you to position yourself like, hey, stage 2, and this is my challenge. Like this is what I'm like feeling like I'm having issues. And I will make sure to every person, again, I want every person to participate with like 12 minutes myself. So I need to see 11 comments or technically 10. But I want you guys to really position yourself where you're at, just in the chat, put in a comment. Hey, I'm actually in stage 1. I'm doing product research. I'm stage 2. The challenge is, let's say, I just don't understand the document with the margins. It's just so complicated. Or I have a problem kind of finding those products or listing them. Or let's say, look at the demand. I just have trouble understanding like why the demand overall. Or I don't know how to differentiate. It's kind of difficult. Like this avatar thing is just not clear. Why would we actually work on the avatar? Or I don't even have a competition. It feels like I don't have a competition, right? So that's what I want you guys to kind of go over. It's going to help me kind of understand what are the challenges that you guys are facing and how can we tackle them. So yeah. Let me see the comments. So Elliot, moving between stage 1 and 2, and I've got 1 sec. I'll just put it here. Okay, moving between stage 1 and 2, I've got 3 product niche ideas and just working through the validation steps for each. Got you. So probably in this case, I'll probably not do all of them at once. I'll start with one at a time and start with the margins particularly. And if that, let's say a product would pass this, then I'll just kind of run it through everything. So demand, avatar, competition. If it doesn't, then move to the next one. So kind of doing it like that, kind of just, it's like a chain. Hey, if it's margins, pass, move to the demand. If it's good, then pass, move to the avatar. If it's good, pass, move to the competition. If it's validated, then that's a validated product, right? So I will do it like that process, not necessarily. I have 3 niches or niches. I don't know. Probably the word can be pronounced differently, but anyway, I have two products that I want to pass, then I'll do them simultaneously. I'll probably not do that. It's going to be dragging you into like more work. So I'm doing checking the margins for each. I will start one at a time. Just kind of try to see if it does pass. If it does pass, I can say the margins and go and look at the demand, and that's going to allow you to look at the volume of sales. Like pretty much doing all the work for one is going to make the second one much faster. So that's how I would look at it. Or you do this process, the more it's going to be super fast. Like you see it right away. Like, hey, quick, margins, move to the next level. Demand, avatar, competition. Like literally this, you can do this like let's say if you really practice this a lot, you're going to be able to validate the product within like 2 hours or 3 hours. Think about that, 3 hours. Right now, I know it's like probably like position a week in like a week or 2 or 3 or maybe more. You can probably, if you practice this, do it in a couple of hours. Like you're done. And I know it might be like right now overwhelming, but as you practice, it's going to be much faster. So just let you know. And if you have any questions, let me know. So yeah, that's going to be probably what I will do. Just break one product at a time. Awesome. Let me see the comments. Darren, stage 3, waiting on last sample. Run to let's see, to come in for content creation, dev team making logos in store. Awesome. So you're actually stage 3. Come back here. So you're building this list here, and you mentioned. Let me see. Just put this on the side. So you have your, you have the sample coming. So the product. This is like this part here. Kind of you're getting like something that you can leverage for content, and then the dev team is working. So I would probably like this is like if you have like the dev team working in terms of doing your store, then that's already kind of taken care. Like you don't have to take care of this. And then you have the email marketing process you need to start looking at, specifically the automations. That's another area of focus. As you get your logo, you're gonna do the email marketing. As you get the product, you're gonna do the content. So I know it's like feels like two things connected, but this is how it's kind of gonna happen. So you need like some things to do some things. So ideally, in your stage, you need to tackle like the element that's gonna unlock things for the next level, right? So you need the product quickly, which I you already got you ordered the samples to do content. So this is very important. So ordering the samples would be a priority in your business right now. And you need the logo to do the emails. So that's also another priority. Because having these two things, like the logo and branding, and in this case, samples with your logo, that's going to allow you to do content and work on emails, which should be a priority in terms of the launch. Because that's a marketing kind of this is back end, this is front end. So you need both. So this is how I would look at it. So I need to work on the samples very quickly, get the order done, and push for the logo as soon as possible. Once I have the logo, I can work on the email marketing. Once I have the sample, I need to do content. But right now, let's say you're thinking about like, I already did these 2 triggers. So I already pushed for the sample, I already ordered, and I already prepared, like I'm waiting for the logo, it's just a team. They're working on this. Then the goal would be, can you do the next thing? Kind of anticipate. Content. What type of content will we do? And I'll give you like an answer, by the way. You need to look at the competition. Are they doing static or are they doing videos? Static or videos? And your competition would always guide you in terms of the format, not necessarily the angle, but the format. For example, if I was to look at um, acne, and I know I use this a lot as an example, but it's just I'll go over the type of ads. Here, I'm going to be looking, let's say, at let's pick a competitor. Okay, let's say the competitor here. If I was to analyze, I didn't actually check. It's like I need to put in. Let's put in a country. Let's put Canada. All ads. Just to have the ads in English. Actually, it's not so smart to put Canada because you might have ads in French. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, I was mentioning French and not French. You can see it's because Quebec is in French. Like everything would be in French in Canada if you were in my area. Anyway, going back to, I'll pick the ones that are in English. And actually, it's weird because I just got French like popping right away. So let's pick something else. Let's put Australia. You guys don't have French, I think, as a second language, so it should be good. Let's put Agni on it. So it should, okay, this is much better. It's okay. I'll just again probably like I'm not even sure I put it right properly, but I'll just pick an example here of this brand, and let's say you're competing with them, and it seems like a big brand. So I'll just put in about and say this is my competitor. What I will be looking at is pretty much what type of ads they're running. Are they running a video or static, like the majority of the time? And you can see this is like a static, and they're doing like probably a 50-50 ratio. So they have like videos and they have static. So I'll look at what type of content they're doing, and ideally you can see that they're doing, let's say they're doing supplements. In this case, it's weird because I was looking for acne and it kind of took me to supplements. But either way, you can see that they're doing this angle where they're showing the product. It's like an image where they're showing like more of a scientific reason on why you would buy this, and they're going with like these statics. So your goal would be, let's say I'm competing with them, I'm going to be looking at doing statics like this, which is pretty easy to do, I would say, in terms of the format they're doing here, because it's pretty much like static overall versus like the ads that's been running for a while, like since 2023. It's been like a static, and you can see in Meta not only the ad, like the type is static or video, but you can see the platform. They're running this on Facebook, and you can see like all the kind of the history of it. So then it's like launched like 2023, so it's been running for a while, like it's like a year plus, or not so a year plus, but nearly a year, I would say. But yeah, you can see all of that, and the information is provided. If they're running ads on Instagram, you can see it. Instagram, Facebook, and you can see that. So that information would give you right away, content-wise, how to structure your content. And you can position this either static, video, and you can use that as a leverage. So yeah, that's how you can do content. So it's just a detail, but that's what I would work on. So just to give you a little bit more direction, you need to unlock these two things, and then you need to work on the content, preparing it of the format, and specifically if you need scripting, I would start that right away. And yeah, that's going to be a great, I would say, view on content. Let's see. I hope this gives you like a little bit more structure in terms of the content analysis.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. Like say I'm sort of at that point where I'm waiting on both things to get things moving, but just further research on the competitors. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is like I'm in the activewear, and a lot of it is video, a lot of it is high quality video. So just figuring out if it's best to just jump straight into hiring somebody to do the initial ads and everything. Like in the mastermind program I'm on, that I think it's module 7.
Let's say
with marketing.
Yeah, so yes, for example, let's say look at Chippermint as an example. It's a big brand that they're driving insane amount of traffic and insane amount of content, right? So if you look at analyzing their content, you're gonna see that they're really like, it's not just like videos, it's also like attention grabbing videos. So that's gonna be your goal. Like for example, let's say you're selling leggings or anything in any category that's in this space, is going to be how can I get attention? Like how can I have people almost like look at your ad and be like, hey, what is this? And then you kind of take them to the store. But the goal would be to work on this format, and this like like a Chippermint, they're kind of testing, I would say, all the angles that you could potentially think of. So this is an attention grabbing clip. If I was to put in see all details, they've been testing it, I think, recently. But they also have this format for like years, and it's been proven. If you look at this ad, and I was just put in play, they did start with right away how to get your attention. Like this is what I call the scroll stopper, which you can see get your attention. You're like, hey, what is this? And then they're showing the product. And most of the time they're trying to really captivate their audience. And that's gonna be like in terms of content you mentioned, you working on the content, and I'll look at attention grabbing content. That's gonna be the goal. Now hiring people, let's say you're in the US, and I'll give you like different options. You're in the US, correct?
I'm in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay, okay. Oh, you're in Canada. Same. Let's look at options. So in terms of options you have, in terms of content creation, you have below for North American market. It's pretty good to work with these influencers because you have access to pretty much like the platform where you can submit requests and you can have content done for you if you're just leveraging, let's say, this platform. And in this platform, most of the time, the challenge would be not necessarily finding people that would do content, but guiding them in terms of what you want. So your goal would be pretty much preparing for this so that this would make sense. You can pick the demographic, you can pick all the details. So you have pretty much like the freedom to put in, let's say, what you're looking for in terms of model. So I want this person with this characteristic, and they're gonna apply with that, person, and you're gonna see a lot of different options, and you can pick from that. So that's an agency that would do content. Also, time is gonna cost you $100 per video. That's the cost with Zillow. Now, you have another option, Fiverr, which is pretty much like a freelancing platform. And this year you can negotiate between $50 and $100 per video. This is much cheaper, but obviously you need to really like look at the portfolio, look at the type of person you want, and kind of do the research. It's a little bit more research because here you apply, they submit. Here you do the research. Now, another structure to do content would be in terms of sourcing. So I'm here positioning like sourcing content, sourcing. And actually, this is really not clear. I'll just put this sourcing. Sourcing. And in terms of sourcing content, the other way would be, let's say we did like below Fiverr. Another way would be Instagram. I know it's not necessarily discussed a lot, but if I was to search, let's say leggings in Instagram, it's gonna give me tons of people that are using the hashtag or they're using this keyword, right? Those people, they're buying these products. Technically, I can DM them and try to see if they have good content. Because keep in mind, Instagram is pretty much every person have a portfolio. It's their account. And it's like the type of content they're doing. So if you can get a partnership, not necessarily just a partnership, but if you can connect with the IG, I would say, influencers and give them the product and no exchange here in terms of I'll try to not pay anything, just send them the product for free. That's going to be giving you content without paying. And that's going to be the cheapest, I would say. So in terms of the pyramid of most expensive to the least expensive, I would say to a certain extent, this is the most expensive. This is okay, you can negotiate, and this is the least. Now, all of these are affordable options. So these are affordable options, affordable. If I was to really push the price into of content, I can go much more expensive. Like I can probably like have some businesses that would pay for content with like a video, $1,000 and so on. But I'm looking at affordable options initially because you want diversity in content. Now, when you have a big business and you're really looking at, hey, I want to do something production level and I want to go like much more aggressive. I want to work with an agency that would do all the scripting and all the content. This could go up, but initially you don't want to be in that category. You want to really build content like at scale. And I would position probably IG as one of the platforms. Now, if you're in Australia or you're probably like exploring all the options, but I'm not sure if this would be valid for North American. You also have hashtag gifted or gifted, and it's the same principle. You gift a product and you get content, and these are partner with Ecom Capital, and you guys can leverage them. And it's just you don't pay for the content, but you do pay a membership. I think $50 a month or something, but you get content much more here in terms of like structure. But you can kind of create gifted by doing the reach out and IG. So it's kind of the same thing. Like instead of like having gifted do the filtering, you just message them on IG and you're gonna get the same thing. So keep in mind that ideally, if you don't want to waste time, you can, or not to say waste time, if you want to be more efficient, you might go with gifted. But I've been doing this for 10 years without gifted, right? And it's the same principle. I listed the IG, I contacted them, and pretty much I got the content done. Now, this part here, you can do it yourself, or you can hire a VA and have them do all the reach out for you and just wake up in the morning and check, hey, we did like reach out to, let's say, 100 people, and we have 20 ready to work with us. So you can outsource and scale if you want to do this faster. So yeah, so that's going to be a one way to scale this if you're willing to hire someone at this level. But yeah,
And
does that
sorry,
make
you said
sense in terms?
your VA?
Yes. So one way would be another, again, if you don't want to do, let's say you're like you don't have the time. So one way would be to hire a virtual assistant
Oh, okay, yeah.
and have them go through a list of, let's say, 100, 100 plus IG account, or you can literally tell them, I want you to search in IG the word, let's say, yoga. And if you see one with, let's say, 1,000 plus followers, I want you to check their content if they have, say, XYZ, and for you add that person in this Google sheet. And that would be like phase one. Phase two, you pick the one that you want the person to reach out to, and they're going to do like all the DMs for you. So that's going to be like one way to kind of structure this, because what you want to do is pretty much just going to Instagram, and I'll show you an example, but it's like looking at the all the tags like that you can potentially just like load my Instagram, which actually I think I have an Instagram account. Let's see if I have one. Okay, I do have one that I created the other time. Let's see. Good. Perfect. So let's say I would search something. Let's put in yoga pants. It should like probably like it's on the phone like with IG, like it's really bad if I was to just putting in yoga pants with, let's say I'll just put in this, which is I don't know, probably it's gonna be weird to search, but anyway, you use your phone much better than using the desktop version. But let's say I would pick a person that's, let's say, doing content in this category, and I will try to see if they have good content. And that's going to be the next thing. It's pretty much looking at these like people that are being tagged on, or like again, I just picked like a random tag, but yeah, that's going to be what you should look at. And any person that you identify here, and I'll actually pick probably another. Let's see an example. Ecom. Should be easier to track. For example, let's say I pick this, let's say, model. She is like, or this page. I'll probably look for a personal page, not like a advertising, like a general page. And you look at the person doing the content and contact them to do content like that. So that's probably like the structure. But I'm using the desktop version, which is terrible. But if you're using the mobile, like the phone, it's going to be much better. So for example, this one here, she's doing, she did like that video there, and she tagged another person, which is annoying. Okay, let me see. I'm going to get one. I need to get one person, at least as an example. Let's see. This super makeup. No. Let me see. Because I did like a lot of these in the past. One sec.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few coaches and personal trainers and instructors and things that I've
Yes.
for quite some time.
So,
They are sort of in the sites for this sort of content
yeah,
creation. And
exactly. So, for example, if I was to contact this person, I would just like DM them and pretty much go with the partnership. Like,
mhm.
message right away. Hey, so your profile, really good content. I have this brand. Are you willing to give us like an in exchange of, let's say, the product piece of content very similar to this one? And you can kind of give them a feel of what you want. And most of the time, any person that's, I would say, within a range of, I'll just put in here like 1,000 to 50,000 followers, they're going to be very responsive. 50,000 plus, most of the time, they're going to, dollars, followers, they're going to request more, uh, like, uh, like you need to reach out to their team, and it's like more back and forth. The other ones are much faster. So this is an example. But if you
Yeah,
just want to go with an agency, below is very simple, just like pretty much straightforward. Uh, there, it's this website, and I think it's $100 video. So they already have it for just 100. and they do content pretty much, for $100, as I mentioned. And they have also packages, but I would not go with these packages. I'll just go with one video at a time. And they have it one video at a time. So you don't have to pay for, let's say, 11 videos for 1,000. It's like they're just telling you, if you want to go bulk, you pay us 2,005, we're going to give you 30 videos. So you're kind of saving 450, and here you're saving 120 just in terms of like volume. You get 11 videos for 1,000. But you can see that they have even like this basic package, but in reality, you have, when you click on the orders, you have like one video, $100. That's it. And you don't need to pay for 500 for 5 videos. And then that's again, this is what a lot of brands they use, specifically in the US and Canada, in terms of just like UGC generation versus Fiverr and IG and so on. So it's a great, agency
Yeah,
to work with.
I'm looking packages like for us clients, but then I'm having to send things over to Australia and
But these are in the US.
yeah, yeah. No, this is good.
Yeah, so this is like these are in the US. The majority are in the US, and yeah, no subscription, no contracts. So it's just you get your content, and like again, majority in the US, and you can see here, vast network of US based creators. So they have mostly US. They do actually have Australian, I think, or people in the UK. I remember like some clients in Europe did have like some European options, but mainly US, Canada in terms of below. So yeah, that's a good option. Now the other one that's Australian, just for people here, gifted content. This one actually is gifted. This one is another option for you guys, and this is Australian, purely Australian, same principle, but you actually just gift, so you don't have like to pay $100 per video, which is much cheaper. So this is like a good option, and they do the content for you. Again, you just give the product, and they are Ecom Capital partners, so you can really leverage them as well, and they do the same thing. It's just
And
much cheaper technically, but yeah. So those are the content sourcing options. Awesome. I hope this didn't make things complicated for some of you guys. Like, hey, what is this? We need to get content. Yeah, so that's part of the process, but this is like later on when you're already having a product and you're working on that stage two of content creation. So yeah, that's going to be my recommendation. Awesome. Any questions, let me know. I'll just go through the comments. James, can you check in Jungle Scout the demand for camping air mattresses? Okay, let's do that. Amazon Jungle Scout. So let's see. Jungle Scout. Problem is you're gonna get a broad market here kind of coming in, because I know that I have the camping air mattresses, but it's gonna show you also the air mattresses like in general. That's gonna give you massive volume, like 3 million a month. 3 million a month, 1.8, like yeah, like massive amount of demand for this product. Like I would say this one is business used camping, so let's look at it. But like demand wise, it's gonna probably be massive. Let's see. Yeah, 100K a month. They're using the word camping, so this is actually aligned with what you're looking at. And yeah, so very big demand for this product. So yeah, I hope this answered your question. But yeah, this is a massive market. Yeah, probably even if I was to look at these variants, they're gonna have some demand. Let's see. Okay, let's see this one. Yeah, 200K a month. You do have the demand, so it's like a Amazon demand. Check. Yeah. Hope that answered your question. But yeah, camping gear mattresses. So yeah, big demand in terms of the US market for this product, and also probably Australian. Same thing, just like on a leverage. I would say it's like probably US is more scaled than Australia, but Amazon wise, you have a good volume. Stephen, I'm in the competition reevaluation stage for the design of the product. Okay, so you're okay. So when you mention reevaluation, what was kind of the, I would say, challenge in doing that process, like of reevaluating things? Maybe you can go a little bit more in details on like the reevaluation that's happening here.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just so I've got a design concept that doesn't, the reason why it obviously suits me is because there's not something like that in the market. So what I'm just trying to do is just go through all the competitors and realize what their sizes are and what their materials are. So it's almost going back a little bit just to really flush out what I want in my product. So
Okay. So you're not necessarily like, you didn't face necessarily a challenge in terms of this is not working within, like the numbers are not aligned anymore, correct?
yeah, no, it's not that. It's just, I guess the challenge is that I'm going back to really redesign what my idea and concept is for the product. So,
Okay.
um,
And let's say in terms of that redesign process, because you have two options technically. You can either look at the complexity of your, let's say you have a product and you're looking to change it. You probably have like a priority list or things that are kind of more driving value than
yep,
other things. So I would try to make this less complex with the most of value. So you need to lower the complexity technically of the design while still increasing the value if possible. Now, this is process like wise one would be like doing the drawings or 3D design and sharing with your supply chain to get the cost. So that's going to be like one way. Another way would be asking the supplier about all the variations of the product that they're, sending to other clients because they have access to that backend as well information. And you can start kind of looking at the variations that are in the process in the market. And sometimes this would also give you like an idea about complexity versus value because you're going to see others what they're working on. If this supplier is big in the space, they actually have backend access to new variations. So both are good ways to kind of analyze more complexity versus value. So I would try to make it as much as possible a simple variation in terms of the product, not like a very complex way. It's going to take the cost higher and also the MOQ higher because the factory probably is going to be like, hey, this is a complex product and the MOQ is like 1,000 because of the complexity of things here. So I'll probably just be worried about this, like this
with
complexity part.
suppliers, with suppliers, are you able to say, hey, these are the lists of USPs or requirements, and then let them go ahead and design, come up with the solution for you, or are you better off giving them as much information as possible and saying this is what it needs to be?
Yeah, suppliers, they don't have really like, they don't have the expertise to look at the customers and look at, let's say, the differentiation. They look at mainly production and how they can
Right.
produce something. So I would probably have to still give them all the information of drawings, how like the product should look like and the functions and everything. And I would even like again stress test like this all like structure with um looking at the competition as well, what they're working on. So if they have like a pre-order or something, I can see it as well. So your goal would be like a mix of analyzing the competition and making sure that we have something that's not complicated for the supply chain. So you're working on things, but if you can extract some information from the supply chain, that's something I would look at. So if they can give you like information on any pending mold, any pending design, any pending I would say variation, that's going to be very good. And sometimes they would give you, not sometimes, most of the time they're going to tell you, we have 3 pending molds right now of these like different variants of this product. And that's going to allow you to see what your probably future competition is doing. Keep in mind, if you're working with a factory that is like leading the market or they have big volume, you're not their only customer, right? They're selling to other customers and they have like a lot of, I would say, backend information on what's the variations that others are working on. And you might be like, hey, but also they're going to have access to mine, like my variation. Yes, they're going to have access to that. And you probably think, hey, maybe I can ask them like to ask to sign an NDA. It's still not going to apply because of jurisdictions, and they're not going to respect it because they want to make more money. So if they would ask the question, probably they're going to respond. Uh, so it's all about really positioning a valuable product. And if you do have a variation that's really unique, you can apply for a patent. Right? So you can always protect yourself in terms of instead of looking at the, let's say, sourcing like area, this is where most people, let's say China, you're sourcing from China. So let's say you look at protecting yourself here with, let's say, NDAs, you should actually look at protecting yourself in your market where you have your jurisdiction, where you can have a control over things with other sellers. Because even if they source from China the same version and they try to advertise in your market, if you have a patent, they can't. It's pretty much like the law. So you don't really have to focus too much on issues here. If you have something unique you want to protect in your market. And most of the time I don't necessarily look at patent as a solution unless I have very great discovery in terms of like product. But I will look at always like the sellers would still find a way to change the design if it's a design patent. If it's a utility, that's okay, but I don't think you will have a utility patent like approved unless you have really like created the whole, like you have like an invention in terms of just how the product have been used. But otherwise, most of the time it's like a design patent, and your competition would come in and be like, hey, you have it like this, we're gonna do it like this, and that's it. And you can kind of argue they're not the same design and they're gonna try to compete. So I would not worry, I would say, about NDAs. This is again just a side topic. I would focus on just how can I excel in the market? And if I was to look at a protection, it's going to be probably in the market, not necessarily in this jurisdiction or this side. So anyway, just a detail.
No worries.
Awesome. So it's just a lot of information that might be overwhelming for some of you guys. Hey, you're talking legally right now. Not legal advice, but I'm just kind of looking at all the potentials and scenarios. Let's see. So that's going to be my recommendation, just to kind of go over that quickly. Focus on simplifying and ask the factory about what are the pending molds or pending designs so that you can kind of have information on that as well. So that's going to be the part you talked about. Hey, can I have them design? You can just ask them, do you have a pending mold or design for this product? And they're going to give you that infrastructure or that kind of structure. So it's kind of helping you shape things. Awesome. And I've seen just one detail because I know that this is actually a topic that I have some exposure on in the last 7 months. One of the client, which is not actually an Ecom actual client, had asked this question to a supplier. The mold was pending from a competitor, and that saved him money because the mold was already, they kind of did the same thing. So it was, instead of him creating a new like structure, he opted for the one that the competitors were looking to do, and it saved him in terms of just risk overall with the MQ. So kind of served him well. It is an option to ask about the spending molds. Let's see, Jana, stage 2, Sean is finding the competition with the right demand. So I'm stress testing a product that I already have. Awesome. So you're looking at a product that you already have, and you mentioned that you're looking at the competition with the right demand. So you're kind of in this category. Yeah, I'll just come here. So you're looking at the competition. So did you look at meta ad library and search, for example, for
I did. I've done like the list as well, because like I know that last time we spoke, you asked me also like about the price, because previously I reverse engineered it, and like I suppose just based it like on industry standards, being in it for a while. But what I did is exactly what you said as well, just to kind of confirm it by going through the meta library, but then also just getting like the ranges of similar type products, and it landed like not far off. As well. I do have that competitive like sheet that I
you
can
want to
share.
it? Yes.
Yeah, if that makes it easier, because then, oops, no, not that. So if we were, I suppose like where I'm kind of getting stuck is the I will try that open.
Okay, so you have this list here.
One and for
okay,
all.
yeah, I'm requesting. Yeah,
It's,
I do request every time by default. I'm just so used to it. Like,
no, you can request. It's just if as long as it allows you without kicking me off. But we'll see. Oh wait, damn it, I was in the wrong one. Can you request
if you're
again?
on, let's see, I'll just give up control. Request. Just to let you know, on the media buying session, so level, you can click on open settings. And it's going to show Zoom, and you can just like put in like just check Zoom. It's like I think one of the options. Okay, it should be good. Let me see. Okay, I can control.
Yay,
Awesome.
okay, it worked this time.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. I actually moved fast things, but let's go. Okay, so
So
these are your comparisons, correct?
yeah, so I did like the competitors, and as you can see, like with some of the traffic as well, it's like I guess some people know what to do and some people might not.
Yes.
And I suppose like yeah, so then I was looking at the ones that I guess like that are most relevant, and yeah, like and I've got some of them as well opened up, because then like what I did is like went through SimilarWeb and then just actually had a look like what are they actually putting out and where majority of the markets are. I mean, it's in line with industry standards. Like the most leading, I suppose, environments for art prints are the US,
Mhm.
and yeah, in some ways China as well. But I guess like my main target would be probably like US, Australia, NZ, but it's open worldwide. So I was looking into these ones more so like as to like what they're actually putting out, and it's static and it's video as well. Um,
Yes, let's see.
yeah, yeah. So I've got this one open as well. So I guess I was trying to get around it, and like the only thing like that I kind of had a concern about was like, well, a lot of them though didn't have much traffic. So does that mean that there's not much demand, or is it just because they don't know what like like how to strategize the marketing for themselves, or is it enough just to have a few examples that are doing really well to then know that I could potentially do the same?
So in terms of demand overall, you need to look at, let's say, not every business is running at scale. That's the first thing. And
Yeah.
also the price would play a big role. So for example, if you have a lower price, you're going to have less traffic. And it doesn't mean that's a bad market. For example, let's say they're selling things on average for $300. It just requires, like, we don't need a lot of volume to make significant amount of money because the price is much higher. So the higher the price, the less traffic you need to make sales or make more money. So that's the first view, just like traffic level. Now,
Yeah.
your goal would be to identify, can we look at not only like, I know that you flagged already some of them, but can we see like who's a leader in the market in terms of this space? And if it's a person that's doing, let's say, 40,000, or the brand doing
Yeah,
40,000,
there is
do they
one.
have competitors? And how you can look at their own competitors is by, let's say, if I was to look at this brand, this is a Google Sheet, correct? Or this is the one, like, where's the Google Sheet that we had? Just you can pick it up.
Just this one.
Okay. So for example, this brand, let's say this is the biggest one here in terms of traffic. If I was
Yep.
to take their store and take just the name of the brand and
Yep.
search it, normally other brands would try to rank for this specific, just copy
Or like
this
betting against
specific.
them.
Yes, they're gonna try to, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be how you can find others that are kind of in the same category. So let's say we search this one. Okay.
I think it was
I'm actually, I think, yeah, I think
yeah.
I'll just, yeah, I'll just put this one here. And let's see
Yeah.
what they have as a brand that's trying to compete. Okay, let's see this one. I'm not sure if it's actually probably just like a reseller, but let's see who is trying. Because it's a big brand, it seems like they're having a lot of like businesses that are just reselling their art or things with them. But let's see.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
it
guess
seems like they're very, most of the time they have just, if I was to look at the keyword, they're probably having a trademark with this as well. And if you were to use it, they can still like, it could probably like cause harm to their competition. But overall, they actually have a great volume in terms of like presence in like different places. So yeah, I'll just close this.
they did very
So
well.
yeah, so they do really like presence, like I would say, with other businesses. Now, if I was to really like look at a competitor or another website, for example, let's say there's a business that's reselling others, then that might be also a business that would have their competition because they might be reselling others,
Yeah.
not just them. So if I was to take this as an example, let's say art for sale, and I would think about like, it's a artist, you literally have all of these people kind of showing, then I can Google them individually and see if they have brands and take those brands and analyze the traffic. Does that make sense in terms of like structure?
Yeah, no, definitely. But
So,
yeah, I guess like with those ones, they're also, because I actually did that as well. There is a gallery that they're represented by, so I kind of like went into like the different people. But some people have really good visitation, and some people have rubbish. So I was kind of
your
like,
goal would be, let's say right now you mentioned, hey, I'm kind of worried about the level of demand, right? Like in terms of just volume. If I can build in a list and say, you have another one actually at 40K, I didn't see it.
yep.
You did, but it's like have a big gap here. Like, hey, that's one on the side. Okay, let's put in 50. So yeah, 40, nearly like this is like you have like a 40K visitors twice. So if you can bring in like an extra 3 or 4 of this level, which I think you can probably find, that's a good volume in terms of demand overall for this
Okay.
space considering the price. So most of the time in terms of analyzing competition, if I can
Yeah.
find multiple, say businesses selling in this space and they have like a 40 plus K visitors per month, I'll analyze the volume in sales. In this case, you can actually do the math, but just say they're having an AOV from what I've seen of $200, and I'll multiply this by
So yeah,
40,000,
you,
and let's
yeah,
say
what you're doing,
1%. Yeah,
conversion rate.
yes,
Yeah.
1%, and they're doing about 80K a month. So if I was to look at this as just the same thing with Amazon, if you remember, we looked at, do we have 6-figure sellers? So if I have like couple of them where they're doing 80 to 100K a month, like 3 or 4 of them, then that's a good demand from like volume in sales, particularly because you're coming in a space where you want to also differentiate. So
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at how can I, build using that kind of demand that's
Mm-hmm.
in there. So yeah, at this
Yeah.
level, that's what I would look at. The higher, the
All right.
better. So if you can actually find a leader doing 400K, that's going to be like a massive amount. Which I feel like if you dig deeper into these kind of competitors, like these brands, you're going to find some of them doing above 100K. I think probably specifically if you
Okay.
put in the US as a market as well.
Yeah.
But the moment you mentioned that you're going to expand to US, UK, for example, and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, so the top 5, you technically would have a big demand for anything, like most of the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
If you
That's
sum
good.
up all of
Yeah.
them, then you're great, I'd say.
And so if we scoot to the right of this sheet as well, so based on this, because obviously I had to kind of like work through, and I just wanted to double check this with you. So like my printer at the moment, the Galaxy prints, which are 330, was like the price that I was going for based on backwards engineering it. And so I guess like I was just working out like even like for those bunch, and then like I just added all of them because these obviously had like a bit bigger. But I was like, I guess 330, and the average of these ones coming in is that, then like does that kind of like tick off my 330 price is fine?
Yeah, so if you have like 300, again, you mentioned like there's like kind of like different, let's say, options or sizes or things like that. So the value is kind of changing if they're going to go with this size or that other one. But let's say the average is 365, that's pretty good. So you're
Okay.
as long
Yeah.
as you're not the highest, so I can see the one that's most expensive is like 700 or something, right? And the least
Yeah.
expensive is like 180 or 90, 79.
Yep.
So you're kind of on the, just as long as you're within the average, not going higher or not going lower, then you're good. Either it's like
Okay.
all probably like pricing wise,
Okay.
you're good. Uh,
Okay. Okay. That's
Probably
good.
looking at the sizes is what I would look at, in terms of what you're
That
offering versus.
that's why, yeah, I've already I've calculated to that. So obviously like a tiny print, and because like I'm really across printing, suppose I was just able to work out like just a base of ratio because my prints are very large. And that was actually another question that I wanted to ask you that I had, because it's like my artworks in general, like they are quite large format. But so you wouldn't really want to go to a much smaller size. However, I was considering possibly, just because it's like 330 is still, I suppose, like, a big ask from some people. So I was considering, should I have like an entry level, where it's like a cheaper print that might be a bit smaller, and then they're an open edition rather than having them, because I'm only doing 100 prints of each of my artwork, to make it limited edition. But I was considering maybe I do like a smaller, I don't know, square piece, or like maybe.
So the question would be, are,
couple.
are the competitors like doing this
Yes,
smaller?
so, they are actually. I guess like a lot of these competitors, when I go onto them, they usually have like a variation of different print sizes. Not everyone.
Okay.
So some people just stick to one. Some people have like 4 options. It really, I guess, depends on like what their suppliers
Because
is.
sometimes maybe it's just, yeah, sometimes it's just because people would actually want something smaller. Maybe they just want it in a position like in a particular place where it's just like, hey, I don't want it to be that big. So it's more of variety. I don't think it's just budget like driven, specifically for this category. I think the element would be like, where would they put this product? Where would they position this? And sometimes the space, like, hey, if we want it to be this size versus let's say a bigger or smaller. So it's more, I think, about that rather than anything else. It's more
Okay.
just, it's not, I think, that much price driven.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I would, if you have like a size, because you don't actually know about their volume in terms of like, are they selling more the standard or the
Yeah,
regular,
no.
like that, sorry, the bigger or the smaller. So you don't really, you can't track that. So ideally, you want to position all options initially and then
Okay.
gradually optimize for the one that's just making you more money, the one that's more in demand. So if we can
Okay.
start with positioning all the options, like I'm assuming you're doing a print on demand, like in terms of the art itself, like it's or you're
Yes, yep.
okay. So it's a print on demand. So you can technically have all the format and then see which one is in demand and just
Yeah.
push that more. So,
Yeah.
so it's not necessarily
Okay.
something to worry about.
Okay.
Uh, so pricing wise, I would look at still an average. I would still use that average, and I would look at the sizes or options later on, some of like what would be the most popular one.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah, that's going to be my view on this. But one thing in terms of your business, just to kind of tackle this, because we didn't tackle this, in terms of validation, your goal right now would be the next thing, which in my opinion is more critical in your case, is looking at, one sec, I'll share with you. Looking at the avatar, like
Yeah.
the art itself, why would they buy it? And it can be because of, let's say, this is how I analyze like this space in the past. It's pretty much, I worked with a business for like, I think 5 years, and we're selling like something I would consider art, but it was just in terms of customization. It was for a very specific niche, and it's term of how we position things. It's more about that person that's gonna buy. What is the type of art and why would they buy them? So that's gonna be like looking at the avatar. For example, let's say they have an anxiety problem, right? So that's kind of, let's say, a problem that they have as a, like they've been dealing with this for a while. Then most of the time they're going to look at some type of arts that your competition is driving, which is again a particular artistic, I would say, position. And your goal would be as an artist, what is your avatar that's kind of resonate the best? And this is again, this is something that probably as an artist you have an idea about. Like, this is kind of the type of art that you want to display, and this is what you want to, I would say, manifest. But if you can kind of look at the avatar, that's going to be the goal as, you know, as your business kind of, we still need to remove the artistic side and look at the marketing side. So we need to look at, hey, who is buying and why? And how can we, in the ads, be more kind of direct in terms of that approach? And I want you to list the the things that you would position as this is why they're buying. Let's say they have these problems, or this is what the artistic side that they want. And I want you to do that and do it versus the competitors. So look at what they're doing and their art versus your art, and kind of see if we were to compete, do we have the same manifestation? And that's going to be probably what I'll look at to art. And in our case, in the past, for this business particularly, we had to say this avatar that only, let's say, I'll just give an example, that only look at, let's say, art that's within a certain category. Let's say, I'll just put in like dark content, or just like it's weird, but I'll just put this as an example. If things are not within this category, it just doesn't appeal to them. And if you were to look at the competition, all of the avatars were people, let's say, that are interested in, let's say, this specific type of content. And if I was to come in new, then it's not going to resonate well. So I'm not actually tackling the same avatar. So all the numbers, all the work you did was looking at the market in general, but you never looked at the avatar when you were doing your research. So right now, it's be looking at what type of art you're looking to sell versus what type of art they have. And if it's the same audience, same category, you're good. If you're bringing in, let's say, content that's going to be more on the, let's say, a specific, let's say, avatar that's not the same, then we have a problem because we might not be tackling the same audience. So everything is kind of need to be redefined into that audience there. That's going to be probably what I'll look at.
In terms of like, for example, some pieces might have completely different avatars. Is that okay?
That's
Like,
okay. So as long as you have kind of a clear view on what their direction and your direction, and we kind of align in terms of just market, then you're good.
Yep.
But if you're coming
Okay.
in, let's say a market where you're tackling, let's say an example, let's say you're looking at anime category,
Mhm.
which you have like all of these businesses that are advertising for that audience, and they're doing art that's kind of, let's say, anime driven, and it's always about what they watched or what they enjoyed. Let's say they're fans about XYZ, and they're doing a content that's kind of appealing to them, to art. And this kind of structure, if you come in and like, hey, we're looking at the demand, it's good. We look at everything is good, and then we're launching something that's not in the anime category. We're actually not attacking, let's say, this avatar interest. We're going with, say, art that's more, let's say, in the, let's say, anxiety department, and you're kind of tackling a different type of art. So my analysis was not necessarily proper because I was looking at an audience that's just interested in anime, and that's pretty much like a segment, and I'm trying to launch in this category. So the prices, everything is not aligned. I want you to be at least aligned to the type of people that would be positioned here. Like, are they in the same room? If they're not in the same room, then we have a problem. And probably you can think about the gallery example. Like, just think about that. Like, a gallery, would it be the same or it's different? Does it make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, let me see other comments. If you have any questions, let me know. So probably the goal would be the next level. It's going to be, hey, what is the avatar about? And list that. List it literally in front of you. And think about tomorrow, if you had a presentation to talk about your art, what would you say? And what would be the person that you expect in front of you? That person, we need to find more of them technically. And my goal when we're running ads is to bring in those people that would look at your art and they're going to be like, it's going to be like bringing them virtually. So without me understanding that audience, what the profile is about, I can't target them in Meta. But if I know what they do, I know what they're interested in, I know how to talk to them, then I can run an ad and I can bring them to your store. And they're gonna be like, hey, this is actually pretty good. And they're gonna be looking at your store as like you just invited them with the ad. And that's gonna be the next level. So that's my view. So if you can list that next time and we can analyze it, that's gonna be very good. Like looking at a
Okay.
potential avatar.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Check margins for each. Awesome. Samantha. Stage 2, working on through validation, also exploring avatar, following your advice. A little challenging to try and find product that has 30% profit. I know I'll look at there, just need to put in time into this. Absolutely. So I know that you mentioned, I think you guys mentioned like time allocation. I think Samantha, you said like 5 to 10 hours. I know your speed in terms of action sometimes is like challenging, but you need to look at the like this Google sheet that we have. I know it's like sometimes it's like, hey, nothing would fit in, but you need to look at overall an opportunity where the prices are above 50. That's gonna always give you like more odds of getting good margins. So avoid things that are under 50, because if it's under 50 and you get like $6 here and then you get $10 for shipping, by default you have difficulty getting into 30%. So my recommendation or hack, which is, I know it's like not something that is like directly think about, but aim for something above 50, ideally above just on the higher side, like of AOV. That's going to give you an easier 30%. Because the more you go down, let's say to 40, the more you're going to have issues with the shipping, taking the ratios and taking the margins down.
You mean the cost of goods to be 50?
The price.
The price. So, oh, the unit price?
Yes. Yes. So if you're looking at a product, make sure to pick something like when you're looking at, let's say, research and you're analyzing the prices, pick products where the perceived value or the prices are above $50. And or I would say a range of, even if you look at 80 plus. That's going to give you so much margins to have the COGS and other things absorbed, media buying. So technically, if I was really looking at, can I hit the 30% fast, like in terms of profit margin in the Google sheet, I'll look at something that's a little bit more expensive versus something that's a little bit cheaper. So that's going to be your goal. Let's say strategically you're doing research, you're analyzing opportunities, pick things where the perceived value is above like 80, the odds of hitting 30% is very high.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And obviously with getting it from the supplier, it will be much cheaper than what it's
Yes.
selling for in the market. So then
Yes.
there's that good gap where I can sell
Exactly.
some, make it. Okay. Yeah.
So
All
yeah,
right.
just
Yeah, there's a
easier.
lot of products like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you bring next time like 5 different ideas of products that you found that are above 80, they're not hitting 30%, I'll be very surprised. But bring them. I'm curious about them. If you do, challenge me. Hey, I have these, they're not fitting. And we can kind of go through that. Does that make sense?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome, my pleasure. I really want you to make sure that every time you're working a little bit on an action that's going to take you to the next level. And I see this is like one I would do here. Making sure you have above 80 and then tackling the 30%. And I
Yeah.
want you guys, I know that we have like a, sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Haman. I know you need to wrap up. The 80, what was the 80 again? So my internet cut out.
$80, it's a price, just the price of the product. So if you're looking at, let's say, the competition, let's say an example here would be this one. Let's say this one, this product. If let's say I look at the competitor and the price is actually showing in the right currency, but let's say the price is above 50, ideally 80, then that's going to be a good pricing. You can expect the margins to be good just by looking at the prices, like on any opportunity, the price
Oh,
should be
perfect.
above,
Okay. Yep.
yeah,
And then you're saying aim for 50.
plus $50 price tag in terms of competition or product.
Yeah.
This should be
Yep.
the value, ideally 80. 80 is going to be very tough to not be within that 30% target. I would say not necessarily very difficult, but if you have like not necessarily very easy, I would say, but if you have like 5 different opportunities, I'll be very surprised if none would fit the numbers.
Yep, that makes sense. Perfect. Thanks, Haman. Thank you.
Awesome, my pleasure. Justin, currently stage 1, have a variety of ideas, niche working through steps. However, some are unknown as an ingredients need and line or actual product, trying to figure out our cogs if it's there. Awesome. So I think this session actually went on like a little bit softer. So I know it's like messy right now looking at it after a while. Like whenever I'm come back, like, hey, what is this? This is so complicated. Like if I was to bring in a person right now, like just right away starting with this, they're like, what the hell is this? Like what are these steps? Like this is so much like things. But we did go through stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So I think we kind of have a good view on what's coming next and the different things, validation criteria. Now, I didn't go into like details for every like in like each category. I did go through the modules a little bit, like the Google Sheet, demand, looking at the Amazon, SimilarWeb, avatar, looking at the true structure with the social listening, competition, looking at the meta ad library. So we did kind of flirt every like I would say criteria. But if you guys are like more advanced, I would say just kind of bring ideas and we can do validation like in the next session. So I'll probably have positioned the next avatar call as just a validation, like just you bring the product and we do the validation like of everything, including the avatar. So I want you guys to gradually kind of bring in ideas instead of or products, instead of just the presentation kind of going into like a theory of using these and more of doing something similar to what, for example, Jenna, you did, you brought the ideas and we kind of, or the competition, we look at the numbers. So I want you guys to do more so that we can progress faster. So bring in your product opportunity and we can really go through the criteria. Like, is it 30%? Check. If it's demand, let's check it. If it's avatar, let's check it. Probably we can do this fast. If you guys prepared like the numbers and you prepared demand and you prepared everything based on what we did today as an example of, let's say, every example I did like a version of it. So I want you guys to do it and bring that and we can kind of go quickly through the steps and really tackle the validation more than once. If you do this exercise every week for like 3-4 weeks, you're gonna master this just by seeing it over and over again. Like I know that I present the same thing like stage 1, stage 2, and doing this over time, but that the boring structure is what would make money. And I want you guys to really tackle that. Like that's why you should do it. It's because it's not easy to understand. It's boring as numbers, you need to look at them, but that's part of the process and you need to really master it. So I want you guys to do it again and again and again. So that's my recommendation. Now working 2 jobs is challenging. I know it's like I mentioned this, I'm actually aware of your time like limitation, but in the end, I know that as long as you put in the inputs, you're gonna get the results. It's just making sure you're consistent in that side. And that's gonna be the goal. Neil, moving between stage 1 and 2, after I need so much capital based on product finance sheet. Also, I does Amazon and Scout, so may give me a better idea of which product. So in terms of, you don't need a 50K example. So I know that's probably like it's going to be fighting when you look at the capital here, but I'll go with this. You don't need 15,000. You don't need this. What is it? You don't need 35K in cash. Like this is just looking at the full rotation of capital. And you don't need 24K here unless you really have a 500 units. But anyway, you don't need, like, it's not going to be like a money that you put in the ads upfront and you don't get any sales. So in reality, when you're launching your business, you're going to run the ads, but you're going to spend. And as you spend, you're going to get sales. Now, initially, in the first phase, you spend a little bit more than the sales you get because you're optimizing. So you have this structure where your return on ad spend is actually not that much. So you're spending, let's say, an example, 100, you're making, let's say, $50 in sales. This is when you're optimizing initially, let's say phase one. And this phase here, say you spend 5,000, an example, and you, again, this is actually bad here, yeah, like a ratio. Anyway, and you got like 2,500 in sales, then you technically invested 2,500. But this, again, this is not a good gap. I'm just like giving you an example. But as you spend, you're gonna get this spend and sale ratio going up. So if you spend and you get more sales, then you're actually making more money by spending. And this is when your return on ad spend is actually positive. And in this case, you can spend 10,000 and you make, let's say, 50,000. Then you're actually ending up with more cash. So this 10,000, you never really had in your bank 10,000. You just were spending, let's say, 1,000 a day, and you were making like every time like 5,000, and that's just bringing cash in your account. So as you spend, you actually get sales. So if you have a positive return on ad spend, you can build massive amount of cash flow or I would say capital. So your goal would be in this scenario here, which again, the goal would be to move from this stage, which is when you do media buying, to the stage. So you don't need the $10,000-$15,000 in advertising budget. You just need probably 2,000, 3,000 to start your marketing overall. So yeah, that's going to be probably my requirement if I was to position this. But yeah, I hope it's answered.
Thanks.
So you don't need 15K.
Thanks, I appreciate that, man. So just starting off, you'd have like your cost price for production for the product, and then on top of that, you'd need an additional maybe, $3,000, let's say, just for like your marketing campaign and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I would always like budget 3,000, 5,000 for my marketing, like in general for the period. But I would say if you're within this range, you should be able to get things going and structure things. Now, keep in mind, I'm also looking to minimize my MOQ. So your minimum order quantity or your business, like whatever, like this amount here to get stock, I'll try to get this down to 2,000 or 3,000, even getting with samples, customized samples. I'm not looking to put in a big order initially. So my budget, like numbers wise, most of the time is aligned. So I'm preparing 2,000 for the stock, 2,000 for marketing, and kind of match properly my budget. So that's something we tackle. I think if you hop on my session on Monday, we can tackle more of the allocation here, just in terms of what you should expect in terms of sales. And if this is something that you guys want to dive into in terms of budgets, requirements, and in terms of how you can structure the cash flow, then we can talk about this. If that's something that you guys want to tackle more, then yeah, absolutely. We can go over what's the requirement of budget for marketing, what you should expect, but that's coming into stage 4. But probably talking about it now would make sense because if you remember, I have it in one of my ingredients here. And looking at stages, money, planning
perfect.
that part.
Yeah.
So I did have it in stage 3.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much, man. Like I said in the comments, I'll just still trying to figure out my exact product and niche.
Yes.
So hopefully that'll all come to fruition in the next week or so.
Awesome. But you don't have to worry about like, hey, we need 15 grand. No, you don't. You don't need 15 grand.
Okay. I was kind of freaking out this morning,
You don't need that. Probably even if you tell me, hey, I have 15,000, I'm like, hey, let's just put it on the side and put in like an initial budget of 2,000 or so in the ad just to kind of get the data and build the business. So you want your business to be healthy. You don't want to put in like those kind of big investment right away. You want your business to increase your cash, not decrease it.
Perfect. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I'll try make Mondays. I'm working full time, obviously, but I'll try make Monday for sure.
Awesome. So yeah, that's going to be good if you can attend Monday because I'm going to be tackling about 2 things. I'm going to be tackling the probably capital requirement, and I'm going to be tackling renewable capital, which is something that you guys probably would have if you're working full time. You have a capital initial, and you have, let's say, a part of your income that can actually add in more on the capital over time. So you can actually grow your business both on this like capital kind of today and tomorrow. So there's like a lot of ways if you're having a bit like working full time, you have a leverage that others won't have, which you can actually allocate more capital technically over time. So if you were to spend, let's say $100 a week on ads, you don't need, let's say, a lot of ways, like if you can kind of save that from your renewable capital, you can kind of keep spending the money on the ads and growing your business without fear, because you're just taking part of your renewable and you're putting it into the ads. So there are a lot of ways to build momentum if you're working full time and you have a renewable capital. If you don't, it's all right. We can still face the same thing. But if you guys want to tackle more requirement budget, how to allocate, how to strategize your budget, your money, very excited to do that. And I can kind of help you guys do some structures that I did over the last 10 years. So yeah.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. My pleasure. Any questions, let me know. And yeah, I got you. See, Shaka, stage one, specifically this week one for me, so very much starting out. Awesome. Currently considering my product niche and about to start research on whether my early ideas are viable. So we need to go through that structure. And yeah, it's a very exciting journey when you're in stage one. But I want you guys to keep that motivation, knowing that it's worth it. And it's like really you're building your business. And it's, again, I showed this last time, which I don't want to keep pushing these stores that are doing volume for you guys. And it's like, hey, why? But I'll share with you guys just in terms of opportunity, what you could do in this business structure. I'll just show you here. I hope it does connect without a code. Oh, it doesn't code. Okay, let me just put the code. I hate when they ask about the authentication. Because I don't like to use my phone, and they're forcing me to keep using my phone with the authentication. So it's like you're forced to use your phone. 1 second, 00097. I'm actually trying to, like, really my phone, there's no app. I'm like, hey, let's not do any apps. And pretty much if I can throw it, I would do, but they're really forcing like with these apps and how you can, they have like all these things attached to the phone. So anyway, coming back to the opportunity, this is a business where it kind of did output not last 12 months. I'll go with like since existence. And it didn't like a year ago or so, but I'll just put 2020 to see like everything in terms of history. And this business started with no cat, like the business owners and the two sisters, but they didn't have any, I would say, assets, right? So they didn't have anything that you guys don't have. What they had was just consistency. And I was really like, again, I worked with them for a while, and that consistency was always there. So even though you kind of think about the business, like, what are the requirements? I need capital. No, you need consistency. If you're consistent, you're relentless, and you keep working your business, you're going to get results. And in their case, they actually got to 20K very early. So they kind of learned the ads very quickly. Like when I had a call with them, it was, I think in this period, it was like 2023. I remember it was like it was in the summer. They didn't know about any media buying. So they were kind of like, hey, we're launching this business, but we don't know about media buying. We don't know how to run the ads. We don't know how to do this. There's like knowledge-wise zero, technically. And then they absorbed the information fast and they executed like the next day, every time. So every time they learned something, they were just jumping on execution. And their numbers were aligned. Obviously, everything was aligned. So they took this business to 20K a month after, I would say, within like the first 3 months. But then they had, like you can see here, like this massive decrease, which is they faced issues with supply chain and payment processing, which is a whole other issue. PayPal asking them for their registration, and they did have the business that they launched, which technically closed business that they did like close a business and then launch it Ecom. So it was weird. They were running a business that was closed. So when PayPal asked about the documents, they didn't have them, or the business was closed. So PayPal kind of hold on the funds. They're like, hey, you don't have a business, you don't have like documentation, so this is an expired like registration, right? So they had to wait and kind of go through that process, which they did fix. But this process here of them optimizing a business where they're facing a challenge that normally you guys would not face if you have a proper information to your business, then this is what they face here. But they kept working on the business, and they grew it to massive amounts. Like right now, it's just doing 150K plus. Okay, literally making every month like 40K plus net profit US. And this is again coming from like zero. And when I see this kind of structures, I'm like, hey, opportunity is there as long as you commit the work. And in Ecom, you can see the pace moving from 5,000 to 100K. This normally should not happen like in a week, or sorry, not in months. It should be in years. Normally in business, you can move from 5,000 to 100K. It should take you like 10 years or 15 years. In this business model, it's like few months, and it's actually more surprising that they didn't know about Ecom before. So it's like less than 2 years, they're already 6-figure sellers. That's opportunity. And if you guys are not committed, then they're committed. And that's something you need to keep in mind. Like whatever you think you're like, hey, I'm kind of learning and I'm growing. That's good. but you need to be committed. Like others, they're doing the same thing, but they're more convinced. And if you have that, like, I'm not sure, I'm just like, maybe I'll put like commitment on the side, like I'm not putting my work. They work every day. They wake up in the morning. They have that commitment. So by default, whatever you think is maybe a requirement, they already have it by default. So you're kind of competing with people that are extremely committed to their ideas. So that's going to be the tough part. But as long as we kind of overcome that, which is kind of the goal of the mentorship or the coaching help, it's really make sure that you guys believe in what you're doing, because that's one requirement. It's like by default, they have it, you don't have it, we need to work on that. So yeah, that's kind of my view on it. So yeah, I hope this gave you guys a little bit more motivation, because it's not like right away you're gonna get the result, but as you work on your business, you're gonna get it. So yeah. Do you guys have any questions before ending the session? I'll just give you a little bit of time. Otherwise, I will share with you guys, and I know I've been pushing this every single call. I need to, every single session, ask you guys to fill in this form. It does help us with the coaching. If you got value from this session, it's a feedback form, and it's internally analyzed in terms of the quality of the coaching, what you guys are learning, and we keep track of it. So I'm actually actively going through all the feedback, including our coaches, all the feedback you guys send. So I want you guys to click on the link, load this feedback form. I want you to do it consistently. Also, it's a way for you to journal like kind of the value you got from the coach every single time. Like I learned this, this, and this, and this is going to be, I think, a good track for us in terms of improving our coaching. So I want you guys to take a few minutes. It means a lot to us. Put in your name. Click on the client card. It's also your name. And if you learned something from the session, mention it. Like, what did you learn today? And pretty much you can copy the entry and put it on the site, so you can track of all the things you learned, and that would be always something you can come back to. Like after 2 weeks, this is what I learned every session. This is why I need to keep coming to these sessions, because I'm learning to, let's say, do this XYZ. And the moment you start realizing that the coaching is actually pushing you forward, you're not going to miss on any session. And that's kind of the goal here. So really making sure that you guys commit it. In terms of the work, because that's a minimum requirement. Like without it, we have nothing. And I mentioned this in my structure. One more time. I need to have it. Yeah, just come back. You. So I talked about the money. Now I talked about we need you. If you're not there, there's nothing. So